What's up, guys? My name is Elias, and the first four teasers of Avengers Doomsday have officially dropped before we get the first full-on trailer for the film. So, in this video, I'd like to analyze what the footage could mean, what could it possibly be pointing towards in the future, yada, 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 yada. And without further ado, let's get to it. So, last week, the Russo brothers posted a social media message of sorts. What you've been watching for the last 4 weeks are not teasers or trailers. They are stories. They are clues. Pay attention. Hashtag Doomsday has begun. Now, last time I checked, teasers were still trailers. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some clues hidden, that maybe we haven't seen, that we haven't picked up on, or, what the meanings of each trailer really points toward in the overall story of Avengers Doomsday. So let's just get into it. So the first teaser that dropped was Steve Rogers. So Chris Evans came back the whole entire time for months leading up to it. I mean, he's been denying that his return, and obviously now he's coming back. For people like me who scour the internet for all these leaks and whatnot, I already knew he was going to come back, but just to see it officially announced is kind of cool. He's not going to be taking the mantle of Captain America back from Sam Wilson, so everybody calm down. Sam is Captain America right now, unless they kill him off and Steve takes the mantle back, or Bucky somehow becomes Captain America, and probably not, because now Bucky has officially been announced as Harvey Dent Two-Face in Robert Pattinson's Batman sequel. So I'm presuming that he's gonna get killed off. But yeah, so I think there's room for two Captain Americas, or at least there's room for Steve Rogers and there's room for Sam Wilson Captain America. You know what I'm saying? Like, there can be both. But the second teaser that dropped was the one that kind of got me a little more hyped for the movie. So it was Thor, and Thor is kneeling down. He's praying to Odin, and he's asking for strength and to come back to love his newfound daughter from eternity as warmth. It's really cool to see serious Thor back, and it's cool to see Chris Hemsworth being that Shakespearean version of the character that I loved so much from the first Thor and from the first Avengers movie and from Dark World. I'm not a fan of the movie itself, but I mean, he was still more of a serious kind of Thor in that movie as well. And I really appreciate that the Russos are kind of undoing what Taika Waititi did with Thor in Love and Thunder, because that was atrocious. Thor doing split kicks, not something I necessarily want to see in a comic book movie. So a theory that I saw online kind of makes sense to me. So it looks like Thor is it looks like Love is kind of sick, and Thor is trying to console her and comfort her. And I wonder if that has to do with Doom's destruction of the multiverse, essentially, because she is a child of the multiverse now. She's kind of like an incursion where she was dead, and then Eternity brought her back, and Thor obviously took care of her. So I'm wondering if that has to do with that, because it seems to me like, especially with Steve Rogers' baby now, Doom is looking for all of these incursions and trying to either usurp their powers, or he's trying to make the world right again. It's kind of hard for me to explain it because, with all this multiversal timeline stuff going on. But basically, Steve Rogers was not supposed to exist in that timeline anymore. Like, he was done. Then he went back, and obviously, he returned the stones, and he stood in that timeline with Peggy. And having a baby in that timeline is something that wasn't supposed to happen. So his kid in itself is an incursion, and Love is an incursion. So those first two teasers, I think those are big clues as to what Doom is going to be trying to accomplish going forward. And also, if Thor is praying to fight an enemy, which we haven't really seen him do like in any of the movies, I think that means Doom is just going to be a serious problem. Now, the third trailer that dropped, and I wish that this was the last one that they dropped, because I think it would have gotten people even more excited if this was the final teaser that we got. But regardless, this was definitely the most impactful one, no matter which way you look at it. This is the one that put Doomsday on the map of being the most highly anticipated comic book movie this year, and just film in general, at least for me. Like, this is the one that I'm like, I gotta see it day one. I kind of want to see it in 40X. But anyway, the trailer that dropped was the X-Men trailer, and it showed Patrick Stewart back as Charles Xavier. It showed Ian McKellen back as Magneto in comic accurate colors too, red and purple. Xavier had the X with the jacket. But then the final shot was Cyclops in the comic accurate blue and yellow suit, and it looks sick, dude. The fact he just takes off his visor and you see a Sentinel walking in the background, and Cyclops is like, like a last ditch effort to like, I don't know, maybe all of the X-Men died. Like maybe they're only in the movie for like 5-10 minutes, and they have this big fight scene with Sentinels being controlled by Doom, and like they have to like try to kill him, or a last ditch effort. Maybe Cyclops is the only one that survives. Dude, it can go any which way. You can see how hyped I'm getting about it. But I love the quotes in that trailer that Magneto's saying. Is basically he's like, it doesn't matter who you, and I'm paraphrasing. It doesn't matter when you die. Like like death is inevitable for everybody. Death is going to come to everybody. What matters is who you are when you close your eyes. What do you see? Who are you, the hero? Are you the villain? Are you are you the one that's going to make the noble sacrifice? Like there's a lot that plays into it, and it's just kind of like I think Doom is going to make a lot of these characters question where they lie on the on the morality scale, on where their alignment lies. Are they good? Are they evil? Because Secret Wars is going to involve both heroes and villains. So this is, I think, to me, leading up to, and let me know what you guys think about this. I think to me, leading up to Secret Wars, we're going to see a lot of villains go to the other side. We're going to see a lot of heroes go to the other side. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see some of our favorite characters simply just switching alignment, switching their codes, and it's going to make for a lot of emotional moments and epic moments that we never thought we'd see in these superhero movies. And again, Endgame was peak, right? Never thought I'd ever see that portal scene where all these superheroes are coming in and they're, everybody's like, hey, we got to stop Thanos and all that. Never thought I'd see that on screen. And now that we got that, I think the Russo brothers coming back, number one, was a big thing for them to course correct everything that's happened in the past 5 years. Because think about it, the dopest movies that came out were No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine. They just were, but they were multiversal fan service events. That's what they were. All these other movies, nothing was ever leading or alluding to a Doom face-off. Doom was not teased. All these movies were just kind of like, okay, we have this new character, and they're doing this. Okay, what does that have to do with the Avengers, though? Like, I want to know what is the overall story that's happening here. And I am upset that Doom was not teased prior. I'm upset that it took Fantastic Four to finally show even the back of the head of Doom, but it's just like for the past 5 years, we haven't really gotten anything that's like, it came out in 2019, but I'm saying 5 because of No Way Home. Like, I think that was the moment where like there were signs that everything was going to start getting either rebooted or we're going to start back to basics, because those 3 movies, Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home, that was Peter Parker's origin story for being the Spider-Man we know and love. And then when we get Brand New Day in July, we're really going to see what the MCU could look like without all of these connections. Obviously, it's going to connect to Doomsday somehow because this is still in the multiverse saga. But what I'm saying is, like, this is kind of showing us, and there's already reports saying the MCU is going to be focusing on established characters, well-known characters, not newer characters or, kind of obscure groups of teams and stuff like that. So we're probably not going to be focusing on Shang-Chi like that. We're probably not going to be focusing on Moon Knight. We're not going to be focusing on Wonder Man. We're not going to be focusing on Miss Marvel. Like, there's so many characters that they've already put out that they're like, hey, these are our new characters, and we're probably not going to get to see a lot of them unless it's like an Avengers movie where everybody comes together. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but it's very interesting to me that the Russo brothers chose to market this movie this way, because obviously the plan originally was for Kang to be the big bad, and then those real life allegations happened with Jonathan Majors, even though he got acquitted, and it ruined his brand. It ruined his not that they're opposed to him coming back in some way, shape, or form. According to reports, Feige and the Russos were kind of looking at how do they incorporate Kang, but it's also just like, had you just stayed the course with Kang, then you would have, I feel like you were going somewhere with that, with Loki and all that. And now that we're just course correcting to Doom, is awesome because I love Doctor Doom. He's one of my top favorite villains. But at the same time, we didn't get a proper lead up to him like we did with Thanos. Thanos was introduced in Avengers in 2012. And throughout those 7 years leading up to Endgame, I mean, we got plenty of Thanos. We got him in Guardians. We had a tease in Age of Ultron. We had him hinted at in other movies. We finally got him in Infinity War in all of his glory. And then we, had him in Endgame where he was about to destroy the world again and Iron Man sacrificed himself. So we never got that build up. So for the first tease of Doom to really be in Fantastic Four First Steps, which just came out last year, and we're getting a full on movie about him this year. Within a year, it's going to be a year and a half by the time Doomsday comes out that we first got him teased, and then we're going to see him. It's just kind of weird to me that it's like Kevin Feige has the audacity to be like, yeah, we were always going to course correct to Doom anyway. We always wanted to do Doctor Doom. Kang wasn't hitting, and it's like, why do Kang at all then? If that's really what you were doing, like you should have just teased Doom as the next big villain. So I hope what they do is that they have Doom like in the beginning of the movie or something, do that comic panel where he either rips a different universe Thanos in half or he kills the whole entire Council of Kangs. And that would make him a huge threat because people would be like, oh snap, he's like, the Kangs are powerful. You can show off their powers. You can have Jonathan Majors in his glory for at least like 5 minutes doing his thing. And then Doom is just like, this is all you got, dog, and literally eradicate all of the Kangs somehow. It can go a lot of ways with it. It's just very weird the way that they chose to do things this time around. And like I said, the marketing for this movie is weird because they leaked all of the trailers before they actually dropped the official trailers, which was weird. I get you're trying to build hype for the fans, but at the same time, don't leak it. Like I still want to see the trailer come out and be surprised when the trailer comes out. I don't want to see a leak, blurry 360 pixels, and I just I don't know what's going on. I can't really tell, but I also do, and it just doesn't look good, and it's kind of like a weird first impression. That's all. So rant over about that. So the fourth trailer that dropped was the Black Panther and Fantastic Four trailer. It's really cool to see, Black Panther, Shuri Black Panther, and now King M'Baku interacting with Ben Grimm's The Thing. I mean, it just kind of brings back that feeling of like, man, all of this stuff really is connected. And we hadn't gotten that for a while. Deadpool Wolverine essentially like was saying, the MCU's connected. He saw the whole MCU on these TV screens at the TVA. We got obviously a multiversal Logan. And No Way Home did that with Doctor Strange being included and, the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. Everything really is connected. But it hasn't felt like that in certain projects and certain movies, these Disney Plus shows and just some of the movies that came out like Wakanda Forever, Love and Thunder. Like it didn't feel like that old school MCU. You know what I mean? That cohesiveness. And we finally got that with this one trailer of Shuri and M'Baku interacting with Ben Grimm. And that was really, really cool. It's a little cheeky. It's got some humor to it, but it's also like, all right, this is the MCU that I know and love. This is the MCU that I missed. This is what's getting me more hyped for Doomsday. Now, Damson Idris, who came out in F1 last year, is apparently the front runner to be the new T'Challa, which I don't really want them to recast T'Challa. I don't even want him to be a T'Challa from a different universe. I think Chadwick Boseman is the perfect T'Challa Black Panther, which is one of the reasons Wakanda Forever kind of hurts for me to watch because it plays like a funeral and it's very emotional, but it's also just like I can't help but imagine how much doper of a film Wakanda Forever could have been with Chadwick Boseman fighting Namor, and that kind of hurts me a little bit when I watch it. But I'm down for Damson Idris as Black Panther. Just make him T'Challa's kid that was introduced in Wakanda Forever. Like just age him up. How they did with Billy in Agatha All Along, Scarlet Witch's kid. Age him up and then just make him take on the Black Panther mantle. I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. I get that Shuri is comic accurate. I'm not hating on Shuri, but another problem that I had with Wakanda Forever was just like she all of a sudden is like the most, excuse my language, badass Black Panther you can get somehow, even though she's never really had any of this training. She's always just been about technology. Like now she can do flips and spins and whatnot, and she's holding her own against Namor. I mean, like I get it. She got the herb and all that in her, but at the same time, like she just hasn't had that warrior experience. It was just kind of weird to me. Just kind of, and that's just me personally. I've heard other people say it, but to me personally, that's just like the biggest thing for me about that movie. So again, I'm hyped to see her interacting with Ben Grimm and all that. I'm glad that we're bringing back that cohesion, but I hope that when they bring all these multiversal people in and they have all these different iterations of characters, that the Damson Idris character, if they are indeed casting him as a T'Challa, that he's T'Challa Jr. He's T'Challa's kid. That would make the most sense to me, and that would make me happy. If you recast him as actual T'Challa, like who Chadwick Boseman was, it's gonna be a big riot. I feel like people aren't gonna dig that. I'm not gonna dig that, but I mean, I'm still gonna watch it. I'm here talking ish, but like I'm still gonna like it and watch it. But I just think that would be the wrong way to go. So overall, I think what these teasers really point to is that Doom is going to be a huge problem. I voiced my concerns in the past that I am not a fan of the Robert Downey Jr. casting of Doctor Doom. Though there are plenty of theories online that I do like as for the reasoning of Doom, that he's the Tony Stark from Endgame, that, they infiltrated the 2012 timeline and he's the one who was having like a seizure because Ant-Man unplugged him real quick. And like then he gets obsessed with like finding out, he sees on like some security cameras that there were other versions of him, like there was another Tony Stark and all that, and he starts becoming obsessed with the timelines and the multiverse and all that, and eventually leads him to become Doctor Doom and trying to stop these incursions from happening. Because he's going to be viewed as like an anti-hero. I mean, you don't get someone like Robert Downey Jr. and play him like a full-on villain. Like he's going to be as complicated as Thanos. Like that's what's going to happen. And in the comic books, Doctor Doom is very complicated. He switched sides so many times for his own gain, for others, and like such a great character. And I think if they do him right, they can have easily at least top 5 comic book portrayals, live action portrayals of a comic book villain. That being said, I'm still not a fan in the simple sense of Robert Downey Jr. to me is not an imposing dude. Again, he's 5'7". He's shorter than me. I'm 5'8", and he's still an inch shorter than me. He's 5'7", and he doesn't have the voice of Doom. Now, I know they're probably going to augment it a little bit, maybe add some like tech kind of like a voice modulator type thing like they did with Ben Affleck in Batman Superman. But he's just not an imposing guy. And when you have someone like a Mads Mikkelsen, for example, which I think would have been the perfect casting for Doctor Doom, I just think there's missed opportunities there. And I think that you could have done something so cool and made Doom so menacing to the point where like people would be like, wow, I can't even believe like what I'm watching. This dude is scary. I just don't get that from Robert Downey Jr. And I get that they're probably going to do something where the point is that he looks like Tony Stark. So people are going to be caught off guard at first and be like, oh man, that's Tony. Like I can't fight Tony, or like, wait, I'm confused, or maybe it'll allow him to infiltrate the team and be like, hey, yeah, I'm Tony, I'm back, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But he's really Victor Von Doom. They can go a bunch of different ways with it. But I think the main things to take away from these teasers is that Doom is coming for the kids. Maybe even T'Challa's kid. I don't know if T'Challa's kid was supposed to be an incursion per se. I mean, or maybe they could spin that to where he wasn't supposed to die, but he did or something. And then, the whole X-Men. I mean, not that they're incursions, but apparently this whole Sadie Sink casting. Sadie Sink is from Stranger Things, and she's coming out in Spider-Man Brand New Day. There's a theory that she's going to be Jean Grey and Scott Summers' kid, and she somehow went over into this world, which she's not supposed to be in. It gets a little too complicated, especially if you're not a comic fan and you're like, dude, I don't even know what you're saying at this point. Like, I get that I could be talking gibberish a little bit, but there's just so many ways that they could go with it. And if Doom is really trying to stop these incursions from happening, he wants to protect the multiverse. Obviously, it's going to lead him into a run-in with Loki, who's holding the multiverse together right now. I'm very, 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 very excited for this movie, and I hope and pray to God that it is as good as I think it will be. They could mess it up, but the Russo brothers have a great track record with the MCU. They did Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. Like they're pretty on point with their MCU record, and I think they are going to make such a dope movie. So anyway, not to give you this whole long-winded video, I was kind of hoping to make it shorter. I'm gonna, but I had a lot of thoughts that I've been sitting on, and as the months progress, as we get more trailers, more leaks, more news, stuff like that, I'll definitely be talking about them. And I know I was a little late in January of making a video. Check out my other 2 videos that I'm putting out. As far as my Road to 30 series, I turned 30 this May, so I'm ranking and watching all of the live action theatrically released Marvel and DC movies. So that's going to be a really cool series to go through, and then rank them all at the end. I know I'm basically a masochist because that's torture to rank 130 plus movies, but whatever. Honestly, I don't want to keep you guys here for too long. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like this and share it to people so they can join in on the conversation too. Get in my comments with your thoughts on what you're most excited for Avengers Doomsday. What trailer stood out to you the most? What are your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr.'s casting? All of that fun stuff. And yeah, until next time, guys, take care and God bless.